Some of you who did do the mobility work before, okay, that I am actually quite big on the breathing mechanics. Okay, so a lot of people have got tight shoulders. They're obviously going to try to stretch their pecs if they're tight here, tight there, when actually the organisation of the ribs, okay, and our breathing is very, very important to free up the motion everywhere else, okay, because if your ribs are up in the air and your scapulars are sitting on that scap, if this is out, then obviously we're going to be restricting motion in that area. Okay, so what I want to just give you an idea, okay, so moving forward, okay, is that my ribs need to be stacked, okay, nice and level on top of my hips, okay, and then when I breathe in, okay, my ribs go up and then they come down, okay. What you see with a lot of people, especially in the gym, is that when they breathe in, they lean back, okay, so like, okay, so now we're breathing into our lower back all the time, okay. So what I want us to do to begin with, just to work out how to do this breathing, all right, so from this position, with a hand on our ribs, as I breathe in through my nose, I want to feel like my ribs are going up, and then as I breathe out, I want you to breathe out all of the air, everything you have. Hold it for 2 seconds so you can feel that your abs are contracting. And then just hold a little bit of tension in the abs as you breathe in, okay? So we're almost trying to get long in our torso. All right, what I don't want us to do is to breathe out and then just breathe in by leaning up in our ribs, okay? So we can do this on the floor, okay? We don't necessarily have to be standing up. Okay, so we can just lie on our backs. So our backs are nice and flat. This just give you a little bit of support. Okay, again, you can put your hands on top of your ribs there. Okay, all right, so we're going to do this for 5 breaths. All right, so you're going to breathe in through your nose. And then when you breathe out, I want you to breathe out all of the air and just feel that your ribs are starting to lower down and flatten. You then hold that for 2 seconds. Keep a little bit of tension in the abs as you breathe in. All right, so your chest might rise a little bit, but your ribs are not going to flare up. All right, so I want you to do that now. And it's very important that we breathe all the air out. Okay, because our primary role, our abs' primary role is actually for breathing before it is stability and strength. Okay. All right, so lie on your back, in through the nose, breathe all of the air out. And you'll feel those ribs start to pull down. Then hold that contraction as you breathe in. All right, if you feel like you can really feel your ribs protruding up towards the ceiling, that's probably a sign that we're very much in an extended position, okay? They should be able to push down, and it should feel pretty flat as you breathe all the air out. For some of you, you might even feel like your chin starts to lift up a little bit and your head rocks back. All right, when you've done those 5 breaths, just raise your hand. All right, so now we're going to move to the overhead position. So we're still in that same position, okay? Because again, when we're stretching our lats, as our arms go overhead, so some of you who are tight overhead, as our arms go up, if we are tight, you will feel that these ribs start to come up in the air. Okay, so we need to be able to hold this position as our arms start to lower down. Okay, so we're going to start with our arms up in the air. Okay, so fingers tall, lower back's nice and flat. You're going to breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe all of the air out, you'll feel your ribs start to come down. Hold that contraction a little bit. Breathe in again without letting the ribs come up in the air. And then as you breathe out for the second time, start to lower your arms down, your thumbs towards the floor. Only go as far as you can keep that back nice and flat on the floor. Again, take another breath in through the nose. And then when you breathe out all the air out your mouth, just try to go a little bit further with the arms. Okay, but we must make sure that lower back's staying flat. The ribs are staying down. So only lower the arms as you're breathing out. Okay, because that will pull your ribs down. Your lats, if you've got them tight, are going to try to pull your lower back off the floor. You need to resist that. And again, we're going to do this for 4 to 5 breaths. All right, so we're learning to have that control overhead. Okay, so don't try to be too aggressive. All right, you don't want to get a pinch in the shoulder. But we're learning to get organised in our rib cage. All right, be strict with the arms. We don't bend arms. Okay, guys. All right, so now this is the one you're probably definitely going to feel if you've got tight shoulders. So again, we're going to lie on our backs. We're going to do the same thing, but our arms are going to be in this position. Okay, outside. So for a lot of you, if I lie on my back, at the moment, if my ribs are extended, my arms won't go to the floor. Okay, so we have to get organised again. Ribs down. I breathe out, and as I breathe out, I'm going to start to lower my hands. I'm probably going to hit a wall at some point. Hold that position, breathe in. Breathe all the air out. Can we go a little bit lower? Okay, each time. All right, so low. Again, don't rush this, guy. If you feel the ribs, you've got to stop if the ribs start to come up in the air. All right, so start to lower down. If your ribs are in a neutral position, your range will increase as you go. So breathe out. So try to keep a neutral wrist position, okay? Some of you are trying to bend the wrist. Yes, I see a lot of you, your hands are a long way off the floor. Again, breathe in from the nose, all the air out. Okay, and I do mean all the air out. And then just let gravity, just going to open up that chest. Good. Does anyone feel like their range is increasing the more breaths they take? All right. Okay, so come out of that for me. Shake it off. All right, so this is again one we've done for our lats in class. I'm just going to sit into that 90-90 position. Okay, so if my right leg is forward, I'm going to rotate to my right. I'm going to bring my arms around dead straight, trying to get side on. Okay, and then drop the chest down. And again, you're going to take 5 deep, long breaths in that position. I'm trying to get as low as possible. So it will feel tight in the lats. And again, really breathing deeply through the nose, let the ribs expand. Should feel tight on a lot of you in that lat area. So try and keep that arm straight there, Martin, your left arm. Try. Okay, so the one you are reaching the furthest across, that's the one you're going to feel. And then again, just take those breaths, just sink into it. It does take quite a few breaths to really settle down. And then when you've done 5 breaths, rotate over to the other side. So for most of you, your right arm. So if my left leg's forward, coming to my left, reaching my right arm. That's going to be the tightest. So not only is this working your upper ribs, it's obviously working your hips as well. All right, so then come out of that. All right, so now we're just going to work on the extension in our shoulders. Okay, so hands are behind. Try to keep the hands as close together. Okay, so rather than a long way out, they are directly behind your shoulders. You're going to pull your shoulders back. Okay, take a couple of breaths in. Try to keep the shoulders back, loosen up that chest. After every few breaths, try to get the arms a little bit further behind you. And again, open the chest, look at the ceiling. That's it, and then creep the hands further out every couple of breaths. You might feel a big stretch in your biceps, at the front of the shoulder especially. It's always a nice when you've been typing all day. Okay, and relax. All right, so shake it off. That's going to be the upper body. All right, so we're always going to start the lower body with a hip, some hip resets. Okay, so we just start with some glute bridges. This is always a good way of loosening off the front of your hips. Okay, so again, in that lying position, tuck the pelvis to begin with, so breathe out all the air, tuck the pelvis, lift the hips, hold for 2 seconds, slowly lower down. Okay, so just going to do 5 to 6 reps, push into the ceiling. . when you've done those 5, really squeezing the glutes, trying to open the hips up. And then you can sit yourselves up. Okay, and then now we're going to go into the couch stretch. Okay, a tough one for many of you. So even though I'm in the dark a little bit here, I want to get my knees close to the wall as possible. Okay, so I'm in this position. So I'm up against the doors here with my back knee, and I'm going to bring the other leg forward, and I'm going to sit up. Okay, so what I don't want, if you look here, I take my arms away, I'm at a bit of a funny angle here. So I'm trying to get myself in line. There we go. So I'm in a nice line. Try not to arch the back. If you have to lean forward slightly, and then just squeeze the glute, you'll get a little bit more of a stretch to the hips. Okay. I'm trying to overall, or as we move along, trying to get that knee as close to the wall as possible, or the couch. Okay, it is a tough one for a lot of you, but I'd rather you lower the chest and then just try and squeeze the glute and push the hip forward. And we're going to hold this, okay, for at least 30 seconds. And we go through this twice per side. The first time through is always the hardest. So make sure your front toes are facing forward and not pointing out to the side. That's it. So the knees are in line, the hips are in line. Good. All right, and then swap sides. And make sure you're not holding your breath here as well. You need to be able to relax in positions. If you're taking short breaths again, that is a sign of stress on the body. So we're just trying to relax into it. So we do 30 seconds per side, and then we do a further 15 seconds per side just to consolidate that position. All right, so back to the other side. We do 15 seconds. Just feel a lot easier this time, or it's easy enough if you are struggling. Lovely, and then swap sides. All right, and come out. Okay, then we're going to go into our hamstrings. Okay, so I want you to put your heels on a chair. I don't actually have a chair. Okay, so actually I have a table there. But so we're going to be in this position. Okay, so you can put your feet on a sofa or even against the wall. So I can be in this position. Okay. Right, the hamstrings are very important. All right, so now you're going to put your hands towards the ceiling. Take a breath in through the nose, and then as you breathe out, I want you to pull your heels down into the wall of the chair. Tuck the pelvis, okay? And keep tucking until you feel your hamstrings. Okay, then we're going to hold that. For 20 seconds, you should feel that tuck. Okay, this is one of the exercises that will have the biggest impact on your back and the organisation of your hips. So we continue to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's just hold in that position. Is everyone feeling their hamstrings? Just wave your fingers or do something. Yeah, there we go, the thumbs. Forgot about the thumbs. All right, so this is actually probably the one I would do before bed every single day, just to make sure that your hips are neutral. All right, and relax. Okay, so stand yourselves up. So now we're just going to get in between the thighs. Okay, so wide stance, toes facing forward. Breathe in through the nose. Then as you breathe out, we're going to lower our hands down, ideally to the floor. Okay. So then take again, just another couple of breaths. Now, just very, very slowly, just want you to very slightly bend the knee and then straighten so we bend the legs, straighten the legs. So just very, very slowly in and out, just flossing the hamstrings. So bend, straighten very, very slowly. Good. And then rotate your hands very slowly to the side. Arms dead straight. Again, you're still flexing, but we're starting to get some more motion in the rib cage again. Again, I'm just moving further over to one side. And then work your way over to the other side. Then slowly come back out of that. Okay, and then we're going to go into the Cossack. So arms forward, very, very slowly. We're going to come down and we're just going to hold that position. You can put your elbows on your knees. And then again, on every out breath, can we just sink a little bit lower? Good. Stand back up. Then into the other side. Lovely. And then just walk your hands out in front of you. And then we will finish just with a downward dog. All right, so stretching out the calves. Again, just breathe in this position. So you're trying to get the heels lower to the floor. Just pushing the chest through. And again, take 5 breaths. All right, guys, good job. All right, you're all done.